The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good evening and welcome to tonight's demonstration. My name's Mark Brady. We should be hopefully underway just a couple of minutes. Just going to wait for everyone to kind of get themselves logged in, and then we'll be kind of cracking on. So yeah, shouldn't be too long. Usually kind of give everyone maybe kind of 5 minutes or so just after 7 o'clock just to get themselves logged in, because I understand a lot of people are coming into from work. All right, I'll speak to you in just a second. Okay, just while the people are getting themselves logged in, for those that are in attendance just at the moment, I'm just going to throw up a little poll, and just if you could answer, I guess, what you kind of class yourself as, just to kind of get a bit of a fair idea of who's actually going to be here this evening, what the type of audience we've actually got. So, yeah, just click on the screen. You can, I think I've actually set it. You can select more than one category, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, we should be underway in just a couple of minutes' time. For those that are getting themselves logged in just now, I'm just throwing up a little poll, bit of an interactive poll, really. So do please select whatever you feel kind of classifies yourself as, builder, developer, or estimator. You can select all three if that's the case, just to kind of get a bit of an idea of what everybody's kind of status is at the moment. We do tend to kind of sell our software to different um, uh, trades within the construction industry. So just take a couple of minutes just to uh, classify yourself. Okay, so yeah, thank you for joining us this evening for our demonstration of Estimator Express. Appreciate giving up your time this evening to kind of go through the software with us. For those that are just kind of getting themselves logged in just now, we are going to be kicking off in about a minute or two. Just what we've got on screen now is we've actually got a little poll just to kind of get a collective idea of who's attending this evening. So do please just classify yourself as whatever it is that you do, builder, developer, or estimator, and I'll be back with you in just the 1 minute's time. Okay, so for those that are just getting themselves logged in just now, thank you and appreciate giving up your evening to come and have a look at our software, Estimator Express. Just what we've got on screen at the moment is we've had a few kind of polls we've been running just to kind of get an idea of who's actually in this evening. So just take just click away, builder, developer, estimator, and I'll actually kind of share the details in just a second. Okay, so we'll be underway. So what I'm just going to do, for those that have been kind of responding to our little kind of poll, just to kind of give you an idea who we've actually got in here, I can actually share this with you. So yeah, kind of looks pretty much bang on. 100% of you are definitely kind of builders. Some of you probably already kind of classify yourself as developers as well as estimators. So you're probably doing the whole kind of 9 yards and stuff when it kind of comes to your business. So yeah, thanks for sharing with that. It's all kind of good information. Right, so yeah, thank you for attending this evening's demonstration of Estimator Express. My name's Mark Brady. I'm going to be kind of taking you through this evening's demonstration. Just for those that aren't familiar with the GoToWebinar or GoToMeeting software, all we're really doing is kind of using this to share my screen. You'll notice on the little control panel when you kind of logged in, there is a little kind of question box. Now you can kind of ask questions all the way through this evening's demonstration, and what we'll do is we'll have a little kind of Q&A towards the end, and then kind of collate all those questions as a little kind of forum just towards there. But please do use it as you kind of as we kind of go through this evening's demonstration. So the topic of this evening's demonstration is what we're going to be doing is showcasing how to do an estimate and how to get it to appear in minutes. And what we're going to be doing is actually estimating with preloaded templates. So some of you are probably using this. I do recognise some of the names on our list. Some of you are probably using this as a little kind of refresher on Estimator Express. Maybe you're having a look at the new version of the software we released not so long ago. And also those that are kind of seeing us for the very, very first time. This is going to be a kind of a good way to have a look at exactly what we do as a business. So just to kind of give you guys a bit of an idea about HBXL, we're actually celebrating our 20th year this year. So if you've been on the website, you'll see lots of banners and information about being 20 years old. We do kind of wear it as a bit of a badge of honour because obviously being a company trading for the last 20 years, I think we've certainly kind of built a very successful business based on the software. over the years, me personally, I'm coming up for my 13th year with the company, so I've been with them for quite some time. And we do feel that the software does actually work. It does work for builders because the software itself was actually started by a builder himself, Adrian Wild, who's still very much involved with the business. He was a builder himself in the Midlands, probably back in the mid 80s, late 80s. And when he had the same frustrations you guys probably have today when it comes to putting an estimate together, putting a price together. I guess back then there wasn't much technology to kind of do it with. You were probably employing someone to do it, a QS, or using the technology of the day, like a calculator. So Adrian started kind of tinkering around with kind of very early kind of spreadsheets, and then kind of came up with a system that he felt was definitely foolproof, and it did lead to his kind of his success. As an actual business, so he's kind of passed that that success on. So for the last 20 years, we've been selling his software to general builders, SME builders, people like yourself who class yourself as a builder, as an estimator, as a developer, and it really has kind of helped and turned their businesses around. We also offer very dedicated support and training. So we do understand within this particular industry, we get a lot of builders who by nature don't tend to use IT, tend to use digital or even technology to kind of help them when it kind of comes to running the business. So we do know that the support structure we've actually got in place is very, very kind of important and pretty priceless at times to kind of get yourself up and running and using the software, the investment that you make. We're definitely in the market to make sure that is something that's done quite quickly. So what I'm going to be showing tonight, how you can actually speed up your estimating, retain accuracy as well as the integrity of the of your quantities and of your estimate, and also produce an automatic formatted quotation, and you can actually then kind of quickly edit the presentation that you're actually going to kind of give to your customers. On that note, I'm just going to again throw up a little bit of a poll, so trying to keep this tonight's a bit more kind of interactive, keep you on your toes, keep you kind of attentive. So I guess what I want to find out is really what are you actually looking to achieve with the software? Are you looking to save time? Are you looking to save money? Are you looking to make more money? Are you actually looking to make better use of your time within the business? Or actually kind of make your quotes look and feel more professional? You can click on as many of them as you want to, or have I just selected the one? Oh, I might have just selected the one. But yeah, what's more important to you? What is it you're actually looking to achieve with the software? So if you just want to kind of answer that just really quickly, and then I'll kind of share the kind of responses and get a bit of an idea of what everyone's kind of looking for. So just a couple more of you to vote, and then we'll be able to kind of share that with you. Okay, so we've got all the votes in, so let me just kind of close that, and I'm actually going to share the findings. So certainly very much split over 40%, making the quotes look and feel more professional, especially in today's marketplace. It's a very competitive market, so making sure that you kind of stand out from the crowd, you stand out from your competitors, and and customers are going to choose you over anyone else. Certainly making better use of time and saving time, and that's, I guess, what the software is all about. I mean, the amount of builders I speak to who are kind of estimating into the wee small hours of the morning, they're not getting to spend any time with their families. They're estimating into ridiculous hours. One of our, I think it's between midnight and 1 o'clock, is actually probably one of our highest percentages of inquiries we actually get as a business. So we do understand that when you're kind of frustrated and you're trying to put a price together, there has to be a better solution out there to kind of use. So yeah, thanks for the kind of sharing that. So this is what I'm going to show this evening. So yeah, on to the software demonstration. So let me just close our PowerPoint. So as I said, we've got a bit of a mixed bag this evening. We've obviously got a crowd who haven't probably seen the software before. Others that are using the software, maybe making themselves a bit more kind of familiar with it. Maybe it was a kind of a recent purchase. And I think we've got some older kind of heads in here as well. People have actually bought the software over the years, maybe using a slightly kind of older version who want to see the nice kind of shiny new bright version that we've kind of got in front of us just now. This is us looking at what we call our kind of dashboards. All it's really going to do is actually give you a kind of recent work. So if you really want to kind of quickly get into work that you're estimating so far, you can click any of these kind of jobs here and you'll kind of get into those jobs to kind of either finish them off or even the kind of get them out to the client. On the right hand side, you have got some kind of management information, some job management information. You've got your kind of win rates. So if you are kind of marking your jobs as kind of outcomes, you'll have a kind of a win against a loss rate. So at the moment, I'm being quite successful. I'm winning about 75% of my jobs. I've got about 22 estimates to complete now. I do a lot of demos in the software, so these are all kind of demos that we've probably done over a number of kind of months. So we've got 22 in there to complete. And then we've actually got one I need to kind of chase up. So you can actually kind of set a job status on your jobs, and you'll get a fair idea of how well your job's doing, and ones that need attention, ones that need the to get out to the clients. You can see there to create a new job, it's a nice big kind of bold button right in the middle of the page. So if you want to create a new job or want to start a new estimate, we can just launch it from here. Now, one of the first questions I pretty much kind of get asked on any kind of demo really is where does the software get its prices from? I'd probably say it's the number one question that builders ask before we do anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the library on the left hand side. I'm going to drop that library down. I'm going to go into the default price book. Now the default price book is actually called the master price book, and it's actually broken down into 5 different categories or 5 different sections. We've got the material price book just here. We've got the labour price book just underneath. We've got the plant. We've got any kind of subcontract prices in here, as well as kind of sundry items. But I'm going to focus on these two, the materials and labour. That tends to be the one that a lot of people want to find out where we get our prices from. So I can very easily access that just by clicking on materials, and then we get the materials populating on the page here. Now they're all kind of based on type in an alphabetical order. I could kind of scroll all the way down here or up. Doors, we've got doors, we've got aggregate. You can actually filter these as well if you only want to kind of have a look at your blocks or your bricks or your sand or your insulation or your timber. They're all in here for you to kind of filter out and have a look at. Now you'll notice here we've got a description of the material. We've got a list price of the material. We've got a discount column. We've got an adjustment column, and then we've got the kind of purchase cost, the purchase price. Now the list price is reflecting the purchase price because I don't have any kind of discounts or adjustments in my price book today. And we've also got the merchant column as well, so it's actually telling me where we're actually getting those material prices from. Just to kind of give you an idea, out the box, if anybody was to install the software pretty much straight after this demo, then the software will actually be loaded with what we call the HPXL Price Tracker Plus prices. Now, it's going to bring your attention. Everybody's going to obviously be using kind of building sand. All right, so I'm just highlighting building sand bulk bag. So that's a ton of sand, and we've got the software price at £41 a ton. Now, where we get that price from, it's being a software company. We've got a team of programmers, developers, guys who can write code and what they've done is they've come up with a bit of an algorithm that's kind of looking at online merchant prices. So any merchant that's got an online presence, that's got prices that you can access online, what we're doing is we're actually kind of working out what the average is they're actually selling those prices for. Now, I can probably do about 5 or 6 demos in the course of a week, and they'll all give me a slight variation on how much they're actually getting the Building Sand bulk bag, but on average is roughly around about £41 a tonne, and that's excluding VAT, by the way, as well. All right. The other feature is you can actually link it in with a couple of builders trade TradePoint being one of them. Now, in my software, my demo software, I've actually got my TradePoint prices active. Now, the TradePoint prices, if I went into Building Sand, we've got them coming from TradePoint, so it's all very shelf edge at around about £34 for a bulk bag of sand from TradePoint. One of the other ones, and I don't have them in the software unfortunately today because I don't actually have my own kind of trade card, is Travis Perkins. That Travis Perkins price that's in my software, I've actually physically put that in myself. But with the Travis Perkins feature is we can actually take your Travis Perkins account number and directly link the software to your Travis Perkins account. So if you are using Travis, you can get the software set up so it automatically downloads the Travis prices into the software. And what it also does, because it links to your account, it will actually bring in your discounts directly into the software as well. So that is a kind of a nice feature. But as it stands at the moment, these ones here, like Jewson's, Kellyways, if anyone's probably Bristol or the Midlands or certainly kind of going up that way, use Kellyways. I've actually put those materials into the software myself. Okay, now it's very easy to get a material in here. Let's say I wanted to make a copy of the Building Sand bulk bag. All I do is click on New Resource on my ribbon, and then what that's doing is actually making a copy of my Building Sand bulk bag on my customer friendly description. So this is what gets pasted onto the quote. I can just call it Building Sand. I don't necessarily have to call it Building Sand bulk bag. Or if I want to kind of put the brand in there, I could put the brand in there if I want to, because we can actually tell the software which merchant we're actually buying that from. So if it was maybe like a local merchant you're actually getting that for, and it was the £32.99 a tonne, and they're actually delivering that pretty much within a week of order, you can put that in there as your own kind of materials. Now the delivery is quite important, because when you do your estimating, the software will then tell you through a report, a materials order schedule report, when you need to order that material by, because it takes a week to be delivered and it's going to be used on a part of the build, certainly that's the part of the build phase. It's going to tell you when you need to order the material so it's actually on site at the right time. So there is some kind of project management features that are embedded in the software, and I'll explain a little bit more about that once we get into the estimate. You'll notice as well as you can actually calculate your wastage. So that's very important as well, especially if you're buying material that is quite bulky, especially sand that you might have quite a high kind of wastage allowance on. Or I think some of the other materials, if you kind of scroll down, have got 0% wastage. Obviously, if you're buying a microwave, you're probably not going to waste it. So you can kind of set your own kind of wastage allowances directly into the software as well. So that's your material price book. If anybody's got any questions about the material side of things, as I said, please use the kind of little kind of question box and go to webinar, and I'll answer those kind of questions towards the end. You've also got your labour rates, so I'm going to click on the labour section. So you'll actually notice here we've got these different trade gangs, 2 and 1, 4 and 2 brickies. We've got our individual brickie, we've got a brickie and a mate, we've got the bricklayer's mate, we've got second fix chippy, we've also got the joiner's mate, decorator, electrician, ground worker. So anybody who's going to be involved in the project or the job, you'll actually have these guys in here. Now, where we get these prices from, they are a kind of a guide price. We do use a slightly kind of different resource or source for the material side of it. We kind of do work out what the average is across the UK, but we do encourage any kind of end user, and going back to the support side of it, that's what we kind of encourage you guys to kind of speak to the guys in support. If you want to make some changes to the labour price book, very, very easy to do. You can just edit the resource and I can actually change that to whatever my 2-in-1 gang's going to charge. Now that is a day rate. Everybody's probably looking at that thinking, well, that's not a day rate, that's an hourly rate. You can see in there we've got an hourly rate in there for that 2-in-1 gang. I'll explain a little bit why we put it in on an hourly kind of rate. All right, so if you are paying on a day rate and you want to work it out, just obviously divide by the 8 and then just make those changes. Okay. So again, anybody's got any questions about the kind of price book, then please fire away and I'll answer those towards the end. There's another kind of section in here I'm just going to highlight with the library. I'm going to look at the overhead, profit and inflation section. So very, very important, making sure that we kind of apply a percentage. Now again, want to kind of keep this kind of interactive, so I'm going to throw up the last poll of the evening, and this is getting a bit of an idea of what kind of profit do you actually add to each job. So you can select one, whether or not it's 5 to 10%, 10 to 20%, maybe plus 20%, or maybe you don't know. I have builders who come and look at the software because they want to get a fair idea of how much they're actually kind of putting on there. So I'm just going to collect those responses and then we'll crack on. Excuse my gulping as we go through. It's just I tend to do a lot of chatting in these things. So we're nearly there. Just a couple more, and we'll get them an idea of what people are actually kind of putting on here. Again, these are percentages. I'm not kind of throwing up any names and stuff, so it's all very confidential. Okay. Right, fantastic. Right, let's see. Let's just share that. So what percentage of profit do you actually add to each job? So about 10%, sorry, 29% of you are adding between 5 and 10%. About 43% of you are adding about 10 to 20%. 20% or over, we've got about 14%. And then we've got 14% who don't particularly know what they're putting on. They might be putting on a flat rate, or as I've spoken to a lot of builders, some jobs they'll feel they'll make profit, some jobs they might feel they'll make a loss, and it'll all balance itself out later on kind of down the road. So what you can do as a kind of an end user is you can kind of split this out. And again, this was us maybe kind of taking into consideration that there's obviously going to be kind of overhead within the business that you want to account for, and then there's going to be this kind of clear profit that you want to make as well. Now I've kind of set my software up as conjecture really. I've got about 10% is overhead through the business, but how much profit I want to make is about 20% clear profit. So every time I do my estimating now, it's going to add 30% on top. Now you can adjust it job to job. You can set the defaults as they are. I think when they come out with the when you install the software for the first time, it's a 15-15 split. So it's still a 30% markup, but 15% is in your overhead, 50% is in your profit. But the software will actually give you a report breaking down how much overhead charge you're doing on your estimating, and obviously how much profit you're looking to make as well. So you can control that and again, when we do the quotation, it's not kind of it's not shown on the quote, so your client's not kind of seeing how much profit you're making. And it was probably down to a lot of clients and stuff, they'd expect you to work for free and also fund the project as you kind of go through as well, which I'll show you a little feature of the software that might kind of do away with that. So we're going to put 30% markup on our jobs. You'll notice on this section here as well, we've got an inflation rate. So what I can do, I can actually add, say 2, 2.5, 3% on all my kind of jobs. I can also delay that as well by a number of weeks. Now, if we've got a job that's going to be, I'm estimating today, but the client's actually asked for us to start it April, May, or even later on into the summer, I can make sure that any kind of inflation is actually being taken into the account of the quotation straight away by setting it to 0. So it's going to add 2% right across my my estimate. Or if I'm doing an estimate and they actually want me to start next week, what I can do, I can actually say, right, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to delay my 2% by about 4 weeks into the job. So it's going to then put some percentage increases on materials that are going to be bought and also labour that's going to be used 4 weeks into the job. So again, you can control that. And there's nothing worse than any kind of inflation or material prices going up or labour increases when you start the job and you've already kind of tendered and already agreed the cost of the job with the client. So you can actually control that. Right, so that's me kind of, I'm not going to go into too much detail what other bits of the library. We can obviously kind of focus on those maybe at a later stage if you want to have a chat with us or the guys in support. So I'm just going to go back to the dashboard. I'm going to kind of get this job ready to kind of rock and roll. So from the dashboards, as I said, very easy, very simple. Click the create new job button, and then that's going to throw up this little box here. Now we've got pretty much there's 4 options here. We can either create the quote or the job from one of the templates, and that's what I'm going to be doing this evening. If we've got a bit of a custom job and the job itself, the shape of the job, the look of the job doesn't really kind of fit with the templates we've got, I can actually do it's a little bit more bespoke. It's a bit more kind of customized. I can use that option there. If you've got time, I might kind of quickly show that. For those that might be using the software and have maybe kind of invested in our Plans Express software, maybe another demo for another night or during the day, we have a standalone CAD system called Plans Express. Now, what you can do with Plans Express is you can do 2 things. You can either do your own plans from scratch, so you can draw up extensions, new builds, loft conversions with Plans Express, and then you can import them into Estimator Express and quantify the plans, or you can just trace over an existing plan, like a PDF plan or an architect's drawing they've given you, and again you can trace over that, and then you can estimate from the plan. So there is a little kind of option down there for importing from Plans Express, which is a standalone CAD system. This option down here tends to be for some of our legacy users, so those that are attending this evening who have actually used or using our older versions of the software. We've kind of left this option in when you're actually creating an estimate and you kind of follow a slightly kind of different path or a different process. And we kind of left it in there because I guess it's just being familiar with the software. We didn't want to kind of particularly change too much. So this is kind of doing it the manual way. But as I said, I'm going to kind of focus on this one at the top where we're actually going to create using the template. So I'm going to click that. So I'm just checking the time now. It's 7:30. So let's see how fast we can kind of get through this. So as you'll see on screen, we've got all these kind of funky kind of templates. Okay, I can actually filter by these templates if I want to just look at extensions. So that's now just going to filter out my extension templates. You'll see they're all very, very familiar, I'm sure. Apex roof single story extension. This one's got a valley. This one's a hip valley. This one's a hip abutment. This one is your pretty much kind of typical kind of lean-to single story extension. This one's got a bit of a kind of a mono pitch going on. This one, flat roof single story extension. The kind of picture probably doesn't do it justice. Within that template, you can put in like roof lanterns, Velux kind of skylights. You can do different kind of finishes on the flat roof as well. This one here, again, it's a lean-to, but it's more of a corner infill, so we're actually building off a wall with the extension. This is going to be a corner infill flat roof, so very similar to the flat roof, but again, we're actually building off the side of the wall. These ones here are like a little kind of corner apex or corner hip and lean-to, or a corner flat roof. And these are like these kind of L-shaped kind of wraparounds, and you've got steels and stuff around these particular templates. You'll notice as well we've got these kind of any shape, so it could be of any shape or size, especially with a flat roof as well. And then we get into these like double story ones, very similar to the single story, but these are just giving you an additional kind of floor above. And then we've got this one here. It's a bit more of an apex valley, double story, and a lean-to single. So we've got a bit of a shape going on there as well. For those that are maybe kind of getting into conservatories or do conservatories, there's a couple of conservatory templates as well to use. Now you'll notice as well, they're all kind of brick and block finishes. And this is because the wall finish is set to brick. I can actually change it to a render finish. So when we load that particular template, it's going to apply a rendered block and block wall, or we could actually change it to stone. So those down, especially around where we are down in Bristol, we've got Bath just down the road. Got a lot of Bath stone and stuff that people build with. So we can kind of change that up. I'm going to kind of keep it really nice and simple this evening, and we're going to do a kind of a brick finish. So I tend to kind of keep it nice and simple, very familiar. So I'm going to do a typical kind of lean-to, but I could do any of these templates, and they're going to follow the same principle, just going to be a slightly kind of different shape. So I'm going to choose the lean-to single story extension with the brick and block finish. Now it is kind of whirring around there. You can see the little kind of circle kind of whirring around. It is actually loading it. Just take a couple of seconds to load. The reason being it's actually doing some estimating behind the scenes as this kind of loads. So when it loads onto the screen, we will actually have a kind of a starter estimated price based on the size of the extension it's actually going to load. So what it's doing there is that price there, the £17,141, is based on this kind of extension size. So it's already kind of been defaulted a 6x3. All right. Now, again, you can change any of this, these kind of dimensions. So if we want to change it a 6x4, or we want to change that to 7, then we can kind of extend the length of that, and you'll see there automatically, as soon as I make that change, it's automatically calculated 23,000, because what it's doing is calculating the amount of bricks we're going to need. It's also counting the slab that's going to be in there as well, and the actual roof. So the 23,000, the reason it's done that is what the software is doing is actually allowing for plastering throughout this whole new build that we're actually doing. It's going to allow for decoration throughout all the walls, the floors, the roof, the windows, the doors. Everything's going to be decorated. It's also going to allow for the internal finishing to an external wall. It's also going to assume that we're actually going to go 900mm deep for my foundation depths. So below the site strip are going to be 900mm. If I'm doing any single skin walls, it's going to do the same depth at 900mm. The ceiling height is assuming, or it's giving me an assumption there of 2.4. I can change that to 2.5 if I want to. And again, you'll see there, as soon as I do that, it's going to be kind of increase our price there. And also the pitch of the roof is giving me a 45-degree pitch. If I want to make that a little bit shallower, make it about 30 or 35 degree, you'll see there the price has probably just gone down because it's just then re-estimated that. Tile lathe downstairs is 300mm. The soffit width to the eaves downstairs is 200mm, and the soffit width to the gables downstairs is 150mm. So this is the reason we've kind of launched these kind of templates, is because a lot of builders do a lot of very kind of typical or very repetitive work, and we're finding that builders were asking us to upload kind of templates if we already had a specific size of template they could use, then we could just kind of load that up and get through that quite quickly. A couple of details up here. We can put in the client's details. So I'm just going to kind of type that as my name. So obviously kind of picking up that client was from a previous job. So it's actually going to fill that information in there for me. And we're going to pick the street, and it'll actually then kind of put the site details on there as well. So this will all be mapped over onto the quotation for me as well. We can also, on the quote, put any kind of assumptions that you want to make on the job to highlight to the customer within the quote, or even any omissions. So enter any kind of details, and again, they'll be highlighted onto the written quote as well. We can also make any kind of provisional sums at this stage. If you want to kind of put a provisional sum in here, we can assign it to a specific build phase, assign it to a specific location, and then put your kind of cost in there, but we're not going to do that just now. So it's going to scroll down. Now the first section we get to is what we call our kind of specification. So specifying what materials, what labour we're actually using on the job. Now I can alter that. The software, what it's doing, it's actually using an extension specification. Now it picks that up from the library. I wasn't going to go into it at the when I was looking at the library, because I wanted to kind of explain a little bit about it in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to modify my defaulted extension specification by editing just down here. So that will open. So the extension specification for all my kind of external brickwork, it's defaulting to an 80 pence brick for all my external brickwork. Now from the drop down list, I can change that. So let's say we want to use an 85 pence brick, or we want to use a 90 pence brick on all the external kind of wall brickwork. So I'm going to change the defaulted extension specifications using 90 pence brick instead of 80. Same for the tiling. It's actually picking up from the extension specification a plain tile. Now I can, if I want to, is change that to a slate tile, maybe the client's, or I have to kind of conform with what's already kind of in the area. So we're actually going to use a slate tile instead. The guttering is going to be a standard kind of plastic half round gutter. But maybe the client turns around and says that they want a slightly kind of different gutter that they want to kind of use. It might be cast iron, and then we can kind of choose what the cast iron half round gutter downpipe. If I was doing a flat roof, I then get a choice of changing up the waterproofing. So I might be using like a JRP as standard, or an EPDM, or a felt torch on, or a PVC. All right. Barge boards, they're going to be plastic, but I can change it to 175mm softwood if I want to. Decoration, we're actually going to apply decoration throughout the job, but maybe the clients turn around and say that they want to decorate it. So I can say no decoration, so all decoration resources are set to not required throughout my estimate. So I can do that very, very quickly. Also this one down here, plant and labour for the excavation, the extension specification is defaulted to a mini digger and driver. Now a lot of jobs that I speak to builders on, they can't get any kind of plant into it. Might be a rear extension, can't get it around there. So what we need to do is we need to do a manual labour dig on the job instead. So I can actually change that. Or it might be that you've got so much space and you want to get, you know, someone's got a cheap JCB. You might want to get the JCB in there, but we're going to do a manual labour dig on this one. So by clicking OK, the software is now going to recalculate those changes. You'll see here, price kind of starts fluctuating. I've actually increased it by £370 and 15 pence by making those changes. So when I click OK, these will change in just a second. So that's us now doing the 90p brick, the slates, and everything else on there. Once I'm happy with that, I can press complete, and then we can move on to the first section, which is going to be my external walls. Now you remember, bear in mind, we picked a template that had the brick and block cavity wall, so that's why it's kind of loaded the brick and block cavity wall. But if I want to, at this stage, I can change it to an external cavity block wall. I can change it to a double leaf brick wall, or a double leaf cavity brick wall, or I can change it to an ICF or a SIP wall if I want to as well, or either I might be doing a single leaf brick wall with piers. So I've got different variations in there I can choose from. And what the software is doing is actually estimating the walls up at 340 and 140mm for the cavities. It's just assuming that you might have to conform with Part L building regs to give the some additional insulation, so it's going to widen the wall width so the cavities are wider. But I can change that back to 300s if I want to, and you can see there again the price is actually changing when I make that change. Now, for those that are probably quite familiar with the software, have used it maybe many times or just starting to use it, whenever I do a demo, I kind of suggest just while you kind of learn the software and to kind of give you confidence on what it's actually allowing for, I kind of suggest going into these two sections here just to kind of give you a cast over of what you're doing. Once you've done this a few times, you'll probably not worry about going in here too often. So that's where the speed starts coming up. But what I'm going to do is just to give you guys an idea of what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to go into that button there. It says DIMS, it just means dimensions. So this is where it's actually picking up the dimensions. Do you remember I said I was going to do the wall heights 2.5 meters high? We're actually doing, I think, it was a 7x4x4. So it's giving you the 15 meter total length of the wall. Now you'll see here, area of openings set to 0 because we haven't got any windows or doors in. But as soon as we do apply a window or a door, the software will then automatically recalculate the area of opening for you. Alright, so it'll take away the amount of bricks you don't need. Whether or not you're going to need any kind of coursing block at the top, you can switch these two little buttons on as well and kind of go into those sections, and it will kind of tell you what you need to kind of enter them there. But bear in mind, it's already been kind of entered for you based on the template size. It's also measuring off the gable, so we're actually doing this section here. It's going to be a lean-to, so it's actually giving me the width of the brick gable, and it's also giving me the height of the brick gable as well, based on the pitch. We've got the depth of our trench. We said it was going to be 900 mil, so what that does, it gives me 500 mil there for the concrete fill. It's also not doing any strutting around the excavation, so it's not applying any kind of plank and strut excavation, but it is actually bulking up the material we're actually going to dig out the ground. And what it's doing, it's bulking it by 1.5. So when it's disposed of, it knows how much cubic meter of spoil you're actually going to dig out the ground. And then we've got our footing details, and I guess this is an example of the time and effort. What we've done is we've kind of programmed the software to allow for pretty much kind of standard building regs for brickwork depths, block depths, block heights. They're all in there. Okay, so I don't have to kind of put anything in here. I'm not kind of changing anything. It's all kind of been programmed for me. Of course, it's going to insulate, and it's also going to put in there a separate damp-proof course as well. And then last but not least, it's actually also doing the internal leaf as well as the external leaf. Okay, so it's actually going to block plaster the block work. That's set to yes. So because remember we said we were actually going to allow for plastering, allow for decoration. So that's why it's kind of picking up the decoration and the plastering here. And it's also putting in a skirting board for you as well, and it'll also estimate the fixings for the skirting. Okay, so I haven't had to change anything. I'm just sense checking it, just kind of getting used to its allowances and knowing what it's actually allowing for. The next button along is resources. So this is actually going to tell me what resources we've actually used on the job. You get a little kind of description there of what resource. I'm just going to skip along a minute just to look at the bricks above the DPC. Do you remember we said we were going to use a 90p brick? So me hovering over there is actually telling me what resource we've actually used, and that's a resource here. Now if I want to, I could actually change that back to my 80p brick. Okay, so I'm actually going for my 80p brick again. Now what the software is doing, and this is kind of, I guess, what we've done as a company and what our developers do, this is the kind of the calculation at the heart of the software which estimates the price that it does. Now you'll see that little kind of calculator there. So for every time that we do anything, or every time that we do bricks above DPC less openings, what we're doing is we're actually using an 80p brick. Now we've got this kind of estimated rate here, and the reasons why it's kind of giving you that rate is we're actually using 60 bricks for every square meter we actually lay those bricks above the DPC less any openings. So a job that's going to be 46 square meters based on our extension size, we're actually going to be using 2,804 bricks. So that's a calculation that you'll probably make if you're estimating with a calculator or a spreadsheet, or if a QS is doing it, they're actually applying that kind of rate based on the how many bricks you're going to use. And if you include the wastage, when we do our ordering for just this section, we're going to have to order just shy of 3,000 bricks for this section, because what it's doing is applying a £48 per square meter rate. Okay. You'll see there as well, the build phase it's actually assigned to is going to be the masonry shell. So what I'm also going to do as well, we did actually have a question come in actually, what about labour on the price per metre? And this is why we kind of put the labour in the price book at an hourly rate, because what we're actually doing, if I just hovered over there, we're actually using a 2-in-1 gang to actually lay those bricks above the DPC. Now, what's actually happening is, again, we're actually applying a rate. So the rate that we're actually applying, we're actually doing a lay bricks above the DPC. We're actually using a 2-in-1 gang. They're in our price book at £65 an hour, remember. And we're actually applying a rate where it's taking an hour for them to do 1.6 square metres of laying brick above DPC. So that's how fast they're actually laying 1.6 square metres. Now you can change that if you want to. That is kind of all editable. I always kind of suggest, if you know what your gangs are laying their bricks and stuff are, you can adjust this so you'll know exactly how many hours is going to go into laying those bricks across this job of 46 square metres. It's going to take about 28 hours for that to happen. And if they're being charged £65 an hour, it's going to cost £1,800 to do that. Now, I could actually change that to 2 square metres, which means it's actually going to take 23 hours. If it was actually doing 1 hour for 1 square metre, obviously on a job that's 46 square metres, it's going to take 46 hours, which is a hell of a long time to do that, and it's a lot of cost. So what the software is doing is actually applying that 39 per square metre rate on the labour. So this is why it's estimating the price that it is, because it's applying a material and it's actually applying a labour for that section. And every single section, even if you're fixing cavity insulation, it's got a rate assigned to it, and it's also got a gang, a resource assigned. And this is why out the box you can pretty much install the software this evening and start estimating based on the rates that we've got in the software. And I guess it's all about trying to not reinvent the wheel, but over time you can really kind of modify and change the software to suit your business, your own cost, your own labour rates, so you know exactly how much it's going to cost on a job. So the markup becomes more important, because you'll know that itself is clear profit, and you know if you tender for a job and you lose out because someone's coming any cheaper, well, that's the price that we'd have to do in order for the business to cover overheads, cover profit, cover materials, cover labour. I wouldn't be able to adjust it, but that's another story. And then even down here, fixing the skirting boards, we've got the joinerings mates, and then again we've got the material to actually do the skirting. So we're actually using the skirting there, and also fixing the skirtings, we've got our nails in there as well. And the skirting, I'm actually using skirting I'm getting from from TradePoint. Okay, so every single element of the software, every single part that you apply has got a rate. Okay, again, if you have any questions on that kind of section, please feel free to kind of to do the Q&A, and we'll have a chat about that towards the end. So once I'm quite happy with the walls, I'll press complete, and then we can move on now to the floor. So the floor that it kind of gives me as default is going to be an extension slab with its ground bearing. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to change it to a ground bearing insulated and reinforced. Obviously the price is going to change. and it's going to kind of increase the thickness of the slab to 125mm. Again, I can go in here, sense check it. It's actually giving me 25.6 square meters of slab because it knows the size of the extension we're laying. It also knows how much perimeter insulation we're doing. We've said we're actually going to use reinforcement, so it's doing top and bottom. And it's also giving me allowances based on the size of that slab for my excavator, wheelbarrow, shovel. Now, obviously, you don't buy a shovel on every single job, but over time, they do kind of get lost, they get broken, they get stolen. So this will kind of calculate and give you an allowance for wear and tear on your kind of plant items like your wheelbarrows, maybe a wheel will buckle, and you'll have to kind of go and buy a new one. So over time, the software will be kind of allowing for that. Okay, so that's what's kind of going on there. We can do a screed finish as well if we want to. If I don't have one, I can set it as not required. It will take out the estimate, or I might just want to kind of leave it in where we're just doing a mesh with no insulation. If I'm happy with that, I can press complete. This is going to be the roof. So what we're doing is we're actually doing a cut roof. You can change that to a truss if you want to, and you can change that to a truss where we're actually plastering and insulating to a flat ceiling, or we're doing a plaster to a flat ceiling, or there's do not plaster and insulate. If we're doing a cut, we can actually allow for plaster and insulate up to the rafters instead. Okay, again, I can sense check it, go into dimensions. This is actually going to pick up all my wall plates, rafters, purlins, binders, joists, soffits. The pitch is 30 degrees. This will estimate up all the timber and roof strap details. So again, it's all been programmed to allow for joist widths, rafter widths. It's also going to do my kind of eaves length. It's going to be 6.4 meters. My joist centers, rafter centers. So the software has been programmed to know how to build a roof and what goes into a roof. So you don't have to kind of sit there trying to work out. All you do is tell the software the size of the roof, and it'll do the rest, and whether or not you want to go into up to the rafters. So it's insulating up to the rafters. So bear in mind, some of these pictures are for illustration only. If I said the opposite, that would be yes and that would be no, but I'm going to leave it. And it will also do the tiling across the roof as well. It knows the square meterage of it, of the roof. Again, if I go to resources, I can skip along to where my tiles are. So that's the tiles. Remember we said we're using slate tile. Yeah. So that's telling me how much. It's a £1.50 allowance. So it's actually going to tell me we're actually going to order 949 tiles to cover that roof. Okay. So yeah, everything's kind of got a rate. So very, very quickly, we've done the walls, the floor, the roof. If you're forming an opening, you can form an opening into an existing wall. We can do a large opening, so that will give you an allowance from 3.6 meters to 4.2 meters. So it's already kind of loading the joists up for that. And we can then extend that if I want to do that 4.2. And we can also increase the height. And what that's also doing is actually giving you your kind of lintels either side, pad stones, bricks required. It's also going to bulk up the, because this is going to form an opening here into that wall. So it's actually going to take away the spoil. The wall thickness you're actually going to be knocking through is going to be 300mm. And we're also going to plaster around the opening as well. Okay. If you want to put steels in at any time, I can switch or jump to a different section. The steels are just down here on the list. It's in alphabetical order, so I can jump down to the structural beams and posts. I can put in a specific steel size. We can put in the type of steel that we want. So if it's going to be like an equal angle, it's a flat plate, it's a joist, or we might be putting in a structural beam. We can put in the width of the beam, we can put in the height of the beam, and then we've got these kind of allowances. If it's going to be £105 to £165 for the size of the beam. And then it gives you what is going to be your length of your beam. I switched these on just to kind of show you. So we've got length of the steel. If we were putting any steel, that was going to be about 7.2 meters. And then how much do you actually want to plaster that steel? we probably want to do about 6.5 meters plastering. Any fabrication and connections, pad stones required, number of bricks required, number of slates required, plastering to the steelwork, and then we've actually got labour and plant requirements. So how many hours? I might want to kind of increase that based on the steel size, and whether or not, if the steel is going to be big enough, we're going to need a crane for a day. And then that gets the kind of estimated, and then the steel's in there. I can press complete and then just kind of pop back to the top. We've already got a structural opening in there as well. We can also demolish walls. So within the renovation section, so for those that are also renovators as well as extenders and new builders and loft converters, there is a renovation and demolition section. So we can do any kind of external renovation, guttering, hacking plaster, internal renovation, stripping out, as well as kind of roof renovation, repointing, any of those kind of different kind of sections. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to put in the demolish of a wall, and then we can do a small area of an external wall, and then what we can do is put the height, the length of the wall we want to remove, thickness of the wall to be removed, we're setting that to 300 mil, and then we can also rip up the foundations as well. It's going to bulk up the foundations. We're going to take out the ground. How many days you're going to need your breaker for, whether or not you're actually going to need a mini digger, JCB, wheelbarrow, shovel. So it's that same wheelbarrow, same shovel we're using, but I guess it's just that kind of wear and tear. When you're demolishing the wall, you might kind of drop a load of rubble onto the wheelbarrow and a buckle of the tyre. So these things do happen. Okay, and all the time we've got this kind of estimate going on. It's also plastering to existing connecting walls. So imagine this, what we're doing here is we're actually plastering onto the existing connecting wall. It's also going to plaster and skim the interior of the existing wall. It's also going to replace any skirtings. And on the external side, so the wall that's been facing out, it's going to plaster and skim exterior of the existing wall, and it's also going to add skirtings to that section. Any external doors. So I kind of mentioned a couple of features, the link in with Travis Perkins as well as the TradePoint. We also link in with a windows and doors company called Crystal Direct. They're based out of Letchworth. They are supplying the likes of Buildbase, TradePoint. I know they do Kellaway's down in this area. I think they do Covers and stuff as well. You can check them out on the website, but they're the actual manufacturer of the windows and doors. Now we've got their products in the software. If you don't necessarily want to use them, you can actually just select a bifold door and then put your own bifold door price from your own supplier into the estimate. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you what the crystal we can do with that. So I'm going to put an aluminium crystal door in here. We can pick whether or not it's going to be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 door. We can also determine the width. So let's say we're actually putting in a 3.3 meter wide aluminium bifold. U value is going to be 1, color is going to be white, and how is it going to be hinged. That price there is the price you'll actually get it through Crystal Direct. So what they're trying to do is, rather than you kind of going through middle suppliers and middle merchants, you're directly going to the manufacturer of the windows and doors. Okay, so it is an option in the software. You can also put in the cost of the lintel, the cavity closer system they supply, and then you can put in how many doors you want. You can put in multiple doors. Okay, now because we've put the door in now, it will kind of go in here. If I'm just going to skip back up to the external walls, I'm going to go back into my dimensions just to show you it's automatically then calculated the area of opening. So what it's going to do, even though you might put the cost of the door in there at 3,000, it won't always go up by that amount because it's going to take away bricks from the cost anyway. Okay. So that's the bifold door. As I said, if you want to put in your own doors, very, very easily, you've got a selection of these kind of like stock doors within the software. These bifold patio doors, aluminium, hardwoods, and then what you can do is swap out under the resources the actually your own suppliers. Same goes for the windows. You can either use Crystal or you can use the stock windows that we've got in the software. Let me just put a couple of ones in here from Crystal, because I like the Crystal ones because you can actually pick the style that you actually want. If it's going to be like a center bar you want to put in there, you can put in the size, the height, the U value, and then that will give you a different color. You can also put in differently. We can put in like cherry blue, cream, so you do get a nice selection. So we've got one there at 210 and we've got one in there at 340. Okay, so we select that, select the lintel, select the cavity closer, and then this time we can put in, let's say we put in 3 windows into our extension. We can also put in the stone sills underneath, so I can put them in, and then that's all then kind of selected, and it's also automatically picked up 3. That's all done. We can also put in Velux windows. So again, we can put in center pivots, how they're going to be powered opening, if it's going to be manual, what are the widths, what are the heights, what's going to be finished, and then we can also put in what type of glass. Now that price there, the £473, you can actually get, well, that's directly from the Velux window website. Okay, that's all done. We can also put in the blind as well if we want to. We can put our blackout energy ones. They're going to be manual opening. It's going to be a blackout blind. So if you get it cheaper from somewhere else, you can overwrite that price very, very easily and get that finished. And then you can put in how many roof windows you want. That's going to be 3. And as soon as that's done, we can press complete and then we can move on. Internal cavity walls, internal single skin walls, and also internal single skin stud walls. Now they're all set to 0, so it depends on the plan. It could be very open plan. We haven't got any kind of partition walls that are going in. It's all going to be very steel and open plan, which is a very favourable design these days. So unless you put a length in here, it's not going to estimate these sections. So just leave it at 0 if you don't want to price them up. If you are going to price them up, then just put the total length. And if then you don't need them, you can press complete, and then you can just kind of work down. So it becomes, I guess, a process, a methodical kind of path of the estimating. Because as you complete, you've done that section, and then you can kind of move on. If you're doing any kind of internal doors, it's up to you. You can add them. If they're going into stud, if they're going into block, you can do fire doors, panel doors, and then that will but I'm not going to do any this evening. I can actually spec out the room. So imagine we've got, it's going to have to return the top of here. We've got our kind of extension. It's all going to be very open planned. It's just going to be the one room. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to add a specific room with the you could be going up to a vaulted ceiling. I think we said we were actually plastering up to the rafters. So I'm actually going to vault the ceiling. So I'm going to call this a family room. And then we're actually going to do the internal dimensions of the, I think it was probably about, let's say it's about 6.5 meters. We did it about 4, so yeah, 3.85, 2.5 meters high, 30-degree pitch. Now, the reason we're actually setting this room out is I can actually add a group of electrical items to a family room. And what the software has done is actually been defaulted for a family room to have a couple of ceiling roses, 3 light switches, and 2 wall lights. Okay, you can actually add some additional ones if we're doing like a where are they? We've got our downlighters, so we've got some low voltage downlights. We can actually add them on. Maybe we've got a couple of those. Oh, not 20. So we've got a couple of those. Electrical sockets, we've got 3 of. But what I might want to do, I might want to put in a couple of double sockets with the USB, because the kids want to plug in while they're kind of sitting there browsing the internet. And what we'll do, we'll make one which is pretty standard. So I'm just going to change that. So we've now got 4 double sockets, and 3 of them I've got the USB switch, and we've got a TV point. I can also add some plumbing items. So based on the room type, family room, I'm going to select OK. It's giving me the area, 25 square meters for the internal kind of area of the room. So what that's now doing, under the TV point, it's now starting to put in my gas pipes, vertical, horizontal copper end feeds, is putting in a 1.4 mil, or sorry, 1400 mil radiator. And it's also putting in my kind of radiator tails, thermostatic valves, lock shield valves. It is putting in a gas fire, but I'm actually going to take that gas fire out because we don't actually need that. Okay, so what I've done very quickly, spec'd out the room, and then put in the my kind of electrics and my kind of plumbing. You can also very kind of quickly as well as do some, while we're here, we'll do some fitting out to the room, and I'm actually going to put in an engineered wood floor. I could even put in underfloor heating, electric, or there is the option of putting in gas. And I'll show you this as well. So that's taking up the engineered wood floor. So it's kind of putting in my underlay. What we can also do in there, I don't know if anybody noticed, we can actually put in bathrooms and cloaks. So if you're doing the extension that maybe had an ensuite attached, or it might have been an ensuite, this will actually give you a very kind of quickly, just to kind of put in allowances for like baths, basins, toilet, bidet, shower, tray and cubicle. Also gives you how many hours it's going to be fitted, and then the length of the bath that the client actually wants us to put in there. So you can really kind of quickly really spec out the room to the client's requirements. It's going to take that bathroom out, it looks a bit weird in there in the extension. Okay, we can also add additional rooms as well. So if you're doing like renovation work while you're there, you could be renovating bedrooms. So we can then add kind of renovation sections to it. So yeah, you're not just doing the estimate for the extension, you're actually doing additional stuff on the job as well. So that's the rooms done. Plastering, it's only really to be used if you're doing any additional plastering. Maybe there's going to be a bedroom that's going to have a complete room plastered, and then it will say, do you want to use the room section to actually do that? But you can do like a typical room plaster and insulation. But bear in mind, we've actually done all the plastering to all the new stuff we've actually been building. So that's not really required. So I'm just going to kind of complete on that. Same for the decoration section, complete room decoration. We could be doing like attic kind of sections as well if we're kind of doing them while we're kind of there. Okay. But we're not going to do any, we're just going to press complete. Walling sundries. So if you're like cladding the external leaf with horizontal timbers, or you're putting in kind of parapet wall coping, you're putting in soldier coursing, tile cladding, wall starters, any kind of brick kind of finishes. Plumbing we've already done in the room, but you can put additional plumbing in here if you need to. That's the underfloor heating. For the plumbing. So if we're doing underfloor heating into a joist, we can either attach it to a heating primary source or a kind of a radiator feed, and then we can put underfloor heating in there as well. Okay, and then we can just tell the software the size of the underfloor heating we're kind of changing to. And that's all done. Electrics we've already done in the rooms anyway, so I'm fine with that. Fitting out we did through the room. We put the engineered wood floor in there, so they're all done. Drainage and services, we can actually add a group of items for drainage. So I'm going to do a foul drainage extension with a back inlet gully, one soil and vent pipe connected to 2 shallow access chambers. And then that's then going to give me my kind of drain runs. The length of the drain runs, and then length of the foul drain run, and then our shallow access manhole is in there as well. So by doing that group, it's already been selected. External works, so for those that maybe kind of extend out into maybe kind of gardens, maybe we're laying down a block paving while we're here. If you're not offering it today, you can certainly offer it with the software. So yeah, by all means, site strip, tarmac and dries, putting down paving. And I guess that's about kind of standing out against your competitors. You offer services that they don't. So that's being completed. Landscaping as well. If you're putting down decking, you're actually doing landscaping, or you're putting in panel fencing, or you may be doing turfing. Now, if you're not doing it yourself, you could, at the bottom here, is actually add a subcontract quotation. So it might be that you're actually putting in a landscaper contractor because you've got a subcontractor coming in to actually do it, and they've actually given you a price, someone that you recommend and use. So you can actually put a landscaping contractor in there, and you can put in for all landscaping, and then cost whatever price they've given you, £2,500–3,000, and then you can then put that to the build phase to landscaping. So that will then be added as a fixed cost on the job. Now this is where I kind of show in the demo the fact that you can then start putting in any kind of additional extra kind of costs. For example, site establishment, travel costs, putting up scaffold, service charges, cleaning of the site. Any of these kind of sections can be added. So let's say we're doing travel costs. Now, a lot of builders I speak to don't actually allow for, in the estimate, their actual travel costs. Now, if you're running a medium van or even multiple vans to jobs, and you're doing a job, I don't know, 50, 60 miles down the roads, and you're probably running there 5 days a week over the course of 4 or 5 months, that mileage will kind of rack up. Even if we're doing like 10,000 miles across that job, or even 8,000 miles, it could be on a medium-sized van, but then you could have multiple vans doing that. If you're working out of London, there's obviously the congestion charge to consider, parking fees, number of days parking fee as well. So it could be that we're actually got that for, I don't know, 130 days or so. Site establishment. So you're establishing a site. It's going to be a medium-sized extension. Maybe the customer's agreed for you to use the bathroom. All right, so we can do away with the site toilet. But if they haven't agreed, if we just do that, then we've got a cabin there for 8 weeks, and then we've got a toilet there for 8 weeks. Length of security fencing, duration of the security fence, days for the JCB to actually clear the site, and then the labourer to kind of set up the site as well. So maybe there's about 16 hours there for the labour. Maybe we've got a day there for the JCB. We've got a skip for the site clearance, and the size of the compound is going to be 55 square or 56 square metres. Also your insurance costs, your site security costs, your health and safety costs, traffic regulation fees, skip permits, skip parking bay suspension. I mean, all these kind of costs add up, and if you're not allowing for them, they're eating into your profit. So whatever profit you think you're making, you're probably not, because of the cost of the job. So already we're at 77,000 based on this job. Okay, and we've also done the subcontract. So you can see there, all my kind of ticks are pretty much kind of taken care of. We're at a job of 77,402 for this extension. We started this, what time did I say? I started 7:30, so we've gone over a little bit. I mean, with me kind of explaining stuff, but I can probably get this to a point within around about 45 minutes. Also as well, you'll see additional templates at the bottom. So let's say we want to put a garage in. I can load up another template now and do exactly the same I've just done on the extension, but this time we're actually estimating the garage. Or your extension could actually have a slightly kind of different projection, or you could be doing 2 different extensions on either side of the build. One could be a double story, one could be a single story. So you can actually do separate kind of sections as well using the software. Or you can actually do some, maybe while you're there, you're doing a loft conversion. We don't have any templates for loft conversions at the moment. They are coming soon. They are being worked on by our development team. But how you would do a loft conversion is you would actually add a custom build, and then you'd actually add what we call the attic conversion kind of section. I'll show you it now. I'm just going to open up a custom build, and then we can actually add It's actually telling me I've actually added a couple of items to my estimate, but I haven't touched them. Do I want to review them? I'm just going to click no at the moment, because what it's going to do, it's actually going to load up my additional template. So that's my additional template here. And what I'm doing, I'm going to go to the, where is it? I need to go to the top. There it is there. All right, so this is my additional custom template. Attics and dormers. I can put a cut roof attic interior conversion. So while we're here, we're doing a large attic space, and we're actually going to convert it into a living space. So it will do kind of loft conversions as well as extensions and renovations and new build work. Upstand details, steels, and then that's that done. So that's going to then add that to my job anyway. Okay. I'm going to go back to my main quote template. So that's us back to the extension, and my additional template is there, so I can go into it anytime. So I can really kind of get this kind of stuff together. So we're up to about 90k with an extension. We've done the kind of renovation, and also we've done some kind of attic conversion, and we can do this. I can come back to this. I can save this now if I am getting a little bit tired, and I can finish it off somewhere else. Because it's on my laptop, I can finish it whenever I want. So that's, I'm going to finish this off now. So I'm going to go now back to my, where is it, my main estimate. Again, I'm just going to ignore those. I'm not going to do those at the moment. I might come back and do them later. So this is now kind of putting this kind of extension in here at 90,000 for my construction costs. So labour, material, plant, all those kind of items. My overhead and profit, remember I put my markup at 30%, so we've got 27,000 in there. And then we've got a sales price, which is going to be 117,353. So that's the sales price to the client. I'm going to go into my calculators. I'm going to let you have a look at the what's actually costing the most money. So we've got travel costs. By putting in the 8,000 miles on a van, could be about 31,000 for. Probably have to kind of look at that one, and maybe I put in probably a little bit too much mileage. But it depends on the size of the job and how many miles you're actually doing. I can make adjustments if I feel that's probably a little bit too high. Let me just kind of pop into it a minute, and that should, yeah, that was about 8,000 miles. I mean, it depends on the size of the job, but you get the idea. It's actually running the that particular van, medium-sized van, about 70p a mile. I could actually make that a change if I wanted to anyway. But that's all your different sections here that we've estimated. The software will also give you a kind of a build program coming off the back of it. It's going to remove any build phases we haven't actually allowed for. It's got demolition there. I just need to kind of move commencement. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to move commencement back to week 1. So my build phase all gets connected, and then that will give you an idea of how long the job is typically going to take and what kind of build phases are going to be kind of after each other as well. I'm going to get down to this quotation because, as I said, what I wanted to do this evening was show you the quote. So any time, as I'm estimating, I can go into the quotation. That's now going to load the quote up. I've already got my logo into my quote from before. So it's going to be a single story extension for me at the street. That's going to be my covering letter to my client. I can make any changes to that if I want to by going into this section here. I can modify the letter section. And then we've then got a kind of a summary of each kind of section here. So foundations, footings, drains, roof structure. So including the VAT, we've got 140,000, including the VAT, including my profit. And we can also add that. Do you remember I mentioned about the inflation? So I can actually add that inflation charge to the estimates as well. So by scrolling back down here, so that's going to take up to 141,140. And then it starts getting into each kind of build phase section. Gives a little kind of description of what the build phases are. Site setup, foundations. And then you'll see in here under the footings, we've actually got some of the materials that are actually then kind of listed in the estimates as well. So if the customer wants to know what material we're actually using on the job, or they specified a certain material, a certain tile, you can then kind of list that on the, so they know that you're actually using Celotex. The perimeter insulation using Jablite flooring boards. Okay, now as I said, you can customize this. You don't have to kind of show this information. You can edit it all out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the build phase section. You'll see here on the right hand side, I can take the images away, and I can also change what resources we're going to put on it by applying the change, and then the images disappear, and also the resources disappear. So all I'm going to give them is a quotation with the build phase descriptions and then the costs. Okay. And also at the bottom of the quotation, you've got a section for the acceptance of the estimate that they can sign off. And again, you can give as many copies as you want. And also make sure that your terms and conditions are uploaded onto the quotation as well. So what you're then kind of giving them is this kind of document. You can then kind of print off. You can export as a PDF, as a Word document, so you can take it out of the software and make any kind of changes. So this, I mean, I've spoken to builders who it probably takes even a couple of days to even kind of get the quote typed out and formatted to how they want it to be. So that's the estimate that they're actually then kind of getting. One other additional piece of this the software is you can then offer maybe kind of stage payments to your client. Now, a lot of builders probably offer this, and maybe they don't, but you can kind of break that down into like stage payments. Where is it? Sorry, I just lost that a sec. Off the back of the stage payments, there is actually a little cash flow report. Now you'll obviously kind of notice here we've got a minus figure across the job. So what you can do is you can actually take a deposit up front, and then that will kind of get rid of the minus figures. And then on the stage payments, you got a deposit there. So before you even do anything, before you break ground, you know you've got kind of money in the bank to actually cover you for any costs. And you can also bill at the start of end of each build phase, or you can bill them every 14 days across the length of the job. Okay. So yeah, that's the software really. So as I said, we probably give about an hour for this, so we've probably gone over a little bit. There's a couple of questions come in which I'll answer, but please feel free to ask any questions, or you want me to kind of go back over a couple of things. So I'll kind of leave I'll leave that kind of open for the next 5 minutes for questions to come in. I'm just going to kind of just step away for 2 seconds, just while I have a drink, and I'll come back and answer any of those kind of questions when I do. Okay, so got a couple of questions coming in. I think I might have answered the first question that came in about what about the labour on a price per metre. You could, in theory, do that. You'd have to kind of probably kind of rewrite the labour price book to allow for a per metre. But bear in mind what the specification does, it does actually apply a per square metre rate based on the length, or sorry, the time value they're actually laying the square metres. Hopefully that might have kind of answered that particular question. Yeah, got a bit of a question about windows. Yes, you can actually add bespoke kind of window dimensions. You can adjust the windows to any size you want, and then obviously whoever you're getting the window supplied from, apply that as a material in the software. But there are certainly kind of bespoke window workbooks for you to actually add to the jobs. Yeah, all cavity trays, they are actually already taken up in the roof section, so they're already kind of allowed for within it. So I guess that's about understanding the allowances and what it's applying when you're actually estimating. So that's what I was kind of suggest, taking some time to go through the dimensions, taking some time to go through the resources while you learn the software, so you know from your own perspective and the confidence that the software is allowing for those different kind of sections. So yeah, cavity trays are definitely taken up in the estimate, especially under the kind of roof section. So I think those questions were quite easy to answer. If anybody's got any more questions, yeah, fire away. But we will be kind of coming to an end of our demonstration. So certainly we've been kind of running this for an hour and a half. I've been through an estimate. I'd probably have to adjust my my mileage on the job, but you get the idea. Probably a little bit too high on that section. I could probably reduce the mileage down. But you just got to kind of make sure that you allow for any cost that you're going to incur business-wise. It needs to be added to the estimate, because you don't want it to be coming out your profit. And if you want to have a look at how much profit and separating profit you want to make, the software is actually loaded with lots of reports. So if I want to look at my sales price, including overhead and profit report, I can click on these reports here, and this will be giving me my kind of information on the estimate. So you'll see here, just let me hide this a minute. Let me open this up a little bit so you can see it. So we've actually got our build phase, we've got our resource cost, excluding wastage, resource wastage total cost, resource cost including total wastage, and then we've got our profit there is 18,000, and then we've got our kind of overhead that's going to cover any kind of overheads that you're running in your business at 9,000. So the total cost is, as I said, is going to be 117,000. So yeah, it's just making sure that you're allowing for all the costs. You're doing it quickly. You're not losing any kind of integrity when it comes to the actual estimate itself. It is a reflection of the job, and you're doing it a lot quicker than you would normally do if you're using if you're doing it yourself, or you might be even be outsourcing it to another like an estimating service or a QS. Now that's obviously going to cost you every time that you do an estimate, and you're not always guaranteed to win it. So overall, there is a return on investment with the software. You've got more control. You can specify your own kind of items, and the software will kind of work for you. As I say, we have been selling the software for the last 20 years, so it must be doing something good. Yeah, good question. Commencements it's the build phase of commencements. So I can't remember the ones off the top of my. They're going to be commencements are going to be like travel costs, site setup, services, or stripping the site. All these will all be probably on the build phase section of commencements, but you can change different kind of sections to different build phases. But the commencement is that travel cost is a lot of that's in there that I kind of put into the estimate. If I went into my main estimate here, let me just go into my main estimate. Yeah, it will actually show you. If I go into travel costs, it will then show you when you're in the section, part of that split over the congestion charge is part of the commencement build phase. The parking fee is going to be the commencement, but the actual travel cost is going to be site setup as a build phase. So whenever you kind of go into these sections, like for example, if I went into the brick and block cavity wall, and again I open this up, this will be kind of broken out over a couple of different kind of build phases. So some of the build phases for the wall are going to be my foundations, my footings, my masonry shell. It's also going to be part of skirting. It's going to be part of second fix joinery, internal decoration. So these build phases, when you then look at your plan or your build program, all these are then made up of these different kind of sections, your build phase sections. You can modify any of the build phase text. You can kind of create your own. You can assign different kind of parts of the build to different build phases as you kind of work your way through the software. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to kind of wrap up now, but thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance this evening. I hope you've found it interesting and a good insight into what we have to offer. I'm sure we're going to be kind of following up with you guys over the next few days. Maybe just checking in, see how you maybe getting any kind of feedback. But yeah, have a pleasant evening, and I'm sure we'll speak in the next few days. So I'll speak to you later. Thanks very much for your time.